Et maintenant, le piano. Ça, c'est que vous allez entendre maintenant les trois thèmes ensemble. Voilà, juste pour vous donner un exemple, il y a plusieurs arrangements, mais personne n'a pensé à ça. Donc, je suis très heureux de vous présenter ce petit détail. Alors maintenant, quand vous allez entendre, vous devez applaudir, comme ça on va savoir que vous avez reconnu l'endroit. Allez, alors on va passer tout de suite.
That was amazing. That was a fantastic little introduction to the evening. And I want to call on everyone on board. Thank you for coming in. I want to wish each one of you a good morning. For those of us who are from the Western Hemisphere, from North America, from parts of Europe, good afternoon to those of you who are in other parts of Europe, in Africa, in the Middle East. Good evening to those of us who are in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Far East, and Australasia. We have with us this evening none other than young and very accomplished dear friend whom we've watched many years ago in India, Marouan Benabdallah, who's right now with us from Budapest, Hungary. He was born in Morocco, and so we're going to take a journey across the world, across continents, through music, through his music, and we're going to live his journey through music. And it's going to be a very enlightening evening. Marouan is an acclaimed musician who is indisputably the leading representative of his native Morocco on the international concert stage. Having recently performed on stages such as the Carnegie Hall, Zankel Hall, the Kennedy Center, the Teatro Colón in Buenos Aires, the Amsterdam Concert. Oh my God, the list is endless. But let me welcome Marouan. Marouan, welcome.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Lorin. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever. I mean, good evening in, good afternoon in India, and good evening for people who are further east, and good morning for the ones who are further west.
Right. Well, the good thing about technology is that people who are logged in can see it wherever they are from, and those who wish to log in later can watch it later too. So this is going to be enjoyed by a very wide audience from across the globe, 24/7.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You listed some concert halls. In few years, few decades, it will mean nothing because everything will be online and global. So where did you play? Oh, I played online. Okay. I did my online debut a few months back with the potential of several billions of people watching, but it was just a few thousands.
Marouan, it reminds me of time measurement. In music we measure time, right? Okay. And I'm looking at time in terms of time, and we have ages represented as BC and AD, but I think now we've got to measure ourselves as BC and AC.
Exactly. Well, we are still at the P right now. We haven't reach the AP, where we'll see how the world will evolve and how our lives will change, because we can read all kinds of articles, studies about what's going to change, but who knows? Maybe just a couple of years and we'll be back to where we were.
Yes, hopefully. That's
perhaps less huggings, less handshaking, but we'll all be doing namaste.
So let me read you namaste to
Namaskar.
you. Namaste, yeah, from India.
I want to say that we are truly privileged to have you, Marwan. It's very rare to get an audience, to get a meeting with you, such a great performer, such a young, dynamic, great, accomplished performer. I think I had a very much difficulty in choosing what to play for today's event. Everything was so brilliant, everything was so well played, so much of variety, but we have tried to pick and choose what of your repertoire we can play. And you play so much of music, so many different composers from so many eras, and your own Arabian music, which you have very uniquely put together after so much of research and thinking. And we're looking forward to hearing you today. And that's great. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. And I'm very looking forward to our talk today.
Yes. So, Marwan, let's take a journey. Geography, history. We make history in this current time. Let's talk about geography, all right? And we are going to talk geography through music and musicians. Here's Rachmaninoff from a Russian composer. And this is a piece that is taken from Rachmaninoff Concerto number 2, which is the first part. And let's hear that before we continue.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It was an amazing interpretation. I wish we had time to play the whole concerto. Marouan, that was absolutely brilliant.
This was performed at the Franz Liszt Academy in Budapest, Hungary. What a wonderful location.
Yes, it's a beautiful hall. It's I have a lot of very fond memories there because that's where I studied. And when I was a student, I had several concerts there. This one, another, my graduation concert also was a great moment, and some other concerts. There is actually a very nice recording of Mozart concerto for two pianos. It's available on YouTube with my dear friend, pianist David Ball, and he's a childhood friend, and it's perhaps one of the most let's say the concert that I enjoyed the most. I mean, we really had fun preparing the concert and then playing it.
Wow.
So a lot of fond memories in that hall. Since then, it was completely renovated. The whole building was renovated, and it was reopened. Well, I'm not very sure, 6-7 years ago, maybe a little more. Now it has the original colors of when it was built. So they had to dig in the walls. Let's say it's not the right word, but to find the original painting that was on the walls, the original color. So they've redone the whole building. It's spectacular. I mean, the difference is just amazing. And the concert hall was upgraded to 21st century facility, 21st century venue with air conditioning and more space between the seats and different lights, spots, and they have infrastructure for very good quality live streaming cameras and now it became I mean it was I would say the best acoustic, one of the best acoustics in the world. Well, today it's one of the most beautiful concert halls.
Wonderful. And we have your friend David Ball here watching the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, say hi to him.
Yes, I have. I welcomed him.
Okay. Well.
So I'm simultaneously just checking out the Facebook Live. What's happening?
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say I left Facebook about 2 months ago. I'm not visiting it anymore. I got fed up with all the time I'm wasting on it. Thanks to this new, on Apple's phone, the iPhone, they have this operating. I mean, in this new operating system, they have this. You can check how much time you spend on your phone, on social media, on reading, on whatever activities. And 3 months ago, I was shocked by the amount of time I was spending on Facebook, and I decided to stop. And until now, there are no side effects. In fact, I'm feeling much better because I can read other things. Because, one thing that made me realize was a film I watched on Netflix. I don't remember the title. It was about these social networks and how the algorithms, how they know what you are going to do, how they can expect your next move. So when you watch a movie, a video, then the algorithm knows that you are interested in those kind of videos. So they keep posting those things, and you spend so much time. And I said enough. I'm fed up with anyway, because on the other page, when you have a professional page, not the personal, they used to call it fan page, whenever you post something, it appears to, I mean, a very small portion of your followers, let's say 10% or even less. So if you want to reach a wider audience, just among your followers who are already following you, have to pay for each post. So I'm like, enough. And but of course, I'm not shutting down that page, because I believe it's still useful for people to know what's going on. I mean, lately there hasn't been anything much going on, but in the future, hopefully, there will be more posting and sharing.
Today is an excellent posting and excellent.
Yeah, today is it is indeed.
Can I ask you a question, probably which
Sure.
nobody has asked you before? You know, today people are so used to technology and iPhones and phones, they find it difficult to remember even their own phone number. How, as a musician, can you remember all the tens thousands of notes that you've played, that too flawlessly with an orchestra? It is an amazing feat. And I would like you to tell us 3 secrets for the benefit of our young viewers and the general public. And the musicians, aspiring musicians and students. Tell us 3 secrets.
Well, I think the first thing is that it's a matter of practice. So why don't we remember the phone numbers? It is because you save it in your phone and that's it. You never dial it completely. You just look up the name and then press, and the call goes out. Before, you had those phones, you have to press each key and dial, and by doing that you remember the phone number. It's like your PIN code in your card. Sometimes you don't remember the name, you don't remember the numbers, you just remember the move you have to do. And when you go to, let's say, China, where the numbers are reverted, I mean, in Europe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, it goes down, but in China it goes up. So you have to switch, and oh my God, how does it work? So I think it's just a matter of practice, and remembering the notes is, it's like a text. If you read the text once, twice, after 5 or 6 times, you remember probably most of it, depending on the length of the text and the difficulty of the text. So the more difficult it is, the more precisely you remember. It's something very common. Let's say when you want to memorize music, fast movements come very easily, and on the contrary, the slow movements are a little bit, let's say, harder to remember because you don't practice them that much. So I think it's there is no secret in this, and perhaps there are techniques to develop your skills, but honestly, I've never had any issue myself. So, well, of course, I had some memory lapse when I was not ready enough. I didn't practice efficiently enough, but that's my own problem. Otherwise, I think our brain is quite well conceived, and if it's properly maintained, I think there is a lot of potential. And I know for sure that we use only a very small part of this potential. We can increase it with different techniques. Let's say, I think one meditation is one of those things, and controlling our emotions, our fear, our anxiety also is part of increasing our brain capacities. Because, for example, everyone is challenged when he or she goes out on stage and plays for a public, or even without the public, just playing in a different concert hall. You are a little anxious, and sorry. So if you are able to overcome your fear, your anxiety, your stage fright, they call it, then you are able to focus more on the music itself, and then the brain can deliver whatever you practiced for so many hours, so many weeks, months.
Right.
So basically, there is no real secret. I think it's more about how you can control yourself when it comes to performing for an audience. And memorization is something. I mean, it's quite. I think it's we all have it. It's just a matter of practice.
Okay.
Yeah, Marwan, we want to take you back to your childhood days, and your dear mother, Gabriela, is also watching. And
okay, well, say hi to her. Hello, Mama.
And just for the audience, Marwan and Lorraine have a common teacher, and that's Marwan's mother, Gabriela Boda. And they've spent quality time in India. And Marwan's journey is amazing. But let's start from where he started, and that is Morocco. And that's a part of the Arab world, and we're going to get into understanding Arab music in a short while. And so, Marwan, if I could just take you through that journey, and if you could share very briefly about your musical journey and your memories of early childhood in Morocco.
Well, I mean, I grew up in music. My mom is a music teacher. She held her music classes at home, so for me it was absolutely natural to play the piano, to sing along with other kids. So it was quite natural. I think when you reach a certain age where, of course, you're attracted by other things, by playing with your friends, football and whatever. So there were some moments when my father had to press and to insist a little, or maybe a little more, so I practice. And well, I think then, it comes naturally. It all depends on your environment. I think in Morocco, I was quite spoiled. I mean, I was at home, there was no much competition. And then at the age of 13, my parents decided to send me to Hungary because, well, in Morocco, the level was not good enough. And I think it was the good time to move and to go to a different place. And here, well, you come here, and of course, you have many talents, geniuses, and it's like they drop you in deep sea, and can you swim or not? Well, I can say confidently now that I was able to maintain my head out of the water, maybe perhaps a little more, but when I see young kids of this age, 13, 14, I always wonder, wow, I mean, it was quite a bold move from my parents and from myself also to, I was I stayed in a dormitory. I had 2 aunts at that time in Budapest, so they helped me. One helped me in the weekend. I visited her in the weekends. The other, I visited her during the weeks. But I mostly did everything myself. So when there was at school a parents reunion with the teachers, I went there to represent myself. When I was really 14. Yeah, so yes, please tell me what's the problem with me. No, well, but I was quite independent at a very early age. Okay. So obviously you learn a lot of things. Of course, we learn from our own mistakes. I learned I could truly learn from my own mistakes. There was no one to guide me in my daily life. So I went to all the lessons alone. It was quite an experience. I think it's good for the young people to become independent at an early age. And then, well, of course, I did the Bartók Conservatory and then the Liszt Academy. And then slowly, I started to build something, let's say. And concerts, competitions followed. well, I don't do competitions because I'm too old for that, unfortunately. But I still give concerts.
Yeah,
and there is no age limit for that.
absolutely.
Only the public. One day, once the public will not show up because they'll be fed up with, oh, Marwan, enough. No, we don't want to hear him again. Then I'll understand it's time to move on.
Well, we always rediscover ourselves, and we will. It's still a long way. It's a long journey. But let's before we land up in Hungary, let's take that journey from Morocco to Hungary, and let's talk about the Arabian world through your arabesque music and the project Arabesque. You know, and before we discuss that, let's play that project out a little piece from that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But that was very short.
Very short, yeah. Well, so can you tell us something about that project?
Yes. Well, this is my most important musical endeavor in my life so far. It, until 6-7 years ago, I didn't know much about Arab composers. I knew of one modern Moroccan composer and another one less modern. But I mean, that's all what I knew. And an Egyptian one, a very good one actually, Gamal Abderrahim. And I was a bit pressured by concert presenters, by one manager actually, who said, well, why don't you play something local? I mean, something from the Arab. I said, well, I don't know any composer. I know one, but that's not enough to make a program. And somehow in the late summer of 2014, I started looking for, I found a composer. And then I threw him through, of course, Google. Today we can easily do research. I found another composer, and then another, and then another, and then I was amazed myself of how many composers there are out there. And today I have discovered so far a little more than 106 composers from different countries of the so-called Arab world, from Morocco, of course, from Algeria, from Tunisia, Libya, not yet, but who knows? Egypt, a lot of composers. Lebanon, a lot of very good composers. Syria, Jordan, and who else? The Emirates, Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait. So many composers. So I decided to make it a project called Arabesque. And today, so far I've given about a little more than 50 concerts in different regions in South America, in North Africa, no, even in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, in Ghana, in Kenya also, but also in Asia a lot. Actually, most of my concerts in India with this program. I already presented at least 4 concerts made of these composers in Delhi, in Pune, but also in China. It had great success. I was surprised myself because I thought China doesn't have much connection with the Arab world, but people are very curious, and this music is so unique. It's very exotic for them. So it's very attractive. So I was myself very, very surprised by the feedback of the public. And well, we launched a series in Morocco at the Royal Academy. Though I mean, we had only 2 concerts so far, so it's hard to call it a series. But who knows? Maybe after the pandemic, they'll be more active.
Great.
Yes.
So Marwan, you are the Béla Bartók of the Arabian world, huh?
Oh, no. Actually, Béla Bartók went to Morocco.
Okay.
People usually know that he went to Biskra in Algeria, but very few know that he went to Morocco first.
Okay.
He was touring Spain with the violinist Franz Liszt, and he was in Cadiz, and he thought, well, I have few days off, so why not go to Morocco? And he went to Tangier, and I know this because of his correspondence. I found a letter he wrote to his mother, and it was sent from Tangier. So that's the proof he was there. That's where he first encountered Arab, North African. I don't know if it's Arab, but maybe Berber music. And in any case, it was exotic for him. And then he decided to come back a year later. It took him 7 years at that time. It was in 1913 to get all the clearances, authorizations to travel, to go to Algeria. And so what he did is he was ethnomusicologist as well. So he was researching folk music. He went to the countryside in Hungary, neighboring countries of Hungary. He went to Turkey, but that trip didn't have much impact on his music. But the Algerian trip in 1913 had a major impact, because you can find rhythmic and melodic patterns in many of his pieces composed after that. That's the dance suite for orchestra. There is the suite for piano opus 14. There is the first piano concerto. The second piano concerto also has obvious North African elements. What else? And then, but you know, he's perhaps the composer that used these North African patterns in a very organic way, in a way that you wouldn't even think it's North African. I mean, it's because the research of musicologists and himself spoke about this influence, but it's not that obvious as it was in the 19th century with the music of Saint-Saëns or Félicien David, French composer, Orientalist composer, who I mean, you hear the music, it's obvious it's about North Africa and the Arab world. In Bartók's music, he really integrated that music into his own music. So there was this cultural exchange, cultural cultural
interweaving.
No, yeah, exactly. Between these, I mean, Africa, North, the Arab world, and the Western classical music tradition. So it started long ago, and
Yes, so
today,
sorry. We actually plan to play the entire arabesque.
Now we will play the entire arabesque.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to play that because I think it's very brilliant what you've done, and we are waiting for you to do Indian-esque after some years.
Sure, you're most welcome.
That's my next life.
Your next life in this life. Right, arabesque. This is Marwan's dear project, and let's hear it. Let's hear more of it.
My name is Marwan Benabdallah. I'm a Moroccan and Hungarian concert pianist. I was born and raised in Morocco until the age of 13, when I moved to Hungary to pursue my musical training at the Franz Liszt Academy in Budapest. Today I share my time between different countries, Morocco, France, Hungary, and many other places where I'm invited to perform. Because of this multicultural background, it was obvious for me to represent this very exciting project called Arabesque, presenting classical music from the Arab world on the international stage. We have found so far around 70 composers from almost all Arab countries: Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, and even Iraq, Kuwait, and Sudan. They all compose in Western style, which means Western modes and structures, but always with an Oriental rhythmic and melodic touch, let's say flavor, that makes this repertoire absolutely unique. However, this project is not limited to Arab composers. It includes also Western composers who were influenced by Arab music. This project is about mutual discoveries. On one hand, the Arab public discovers the beauty of classical music through masterpieces by Arab composers, and I hope this will awaken them certain Arab pride. On the other hand, you have the Western public, which is used to Beethoven, Liszt, Chopin, Bach, Schubert. And now they have the opportunity to discover a whole new repertoire that would get them off the beaten tracks, let's say. These past few years, the Arab world has been at the center of attention. First, because it aroused great hopes. But then, unfortunately, apart from few exceptions, it became theater of terrible violence and barbarity. As an artist, it is my duty, and I feel it is our common duty to show a much more pleasant, a noble facet of the same Arab world. And I hope many institutions and sponsors will join us in this exciting journey. It is in our interest to foster better understanding and dialogue between cultures and people.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Marwan.
Well, I have to say, I haven't watched this video since it was made 6 years ago. I'm quite, I'm quite satisfied with the result of what we did 6 years ago.
Yes.
I'm happy. I also lived for many years in the Arab world in Kuwait. So I was exposed to quite a lot of music, and I think they have some good music. And I'm so glad that you have actually done this unique, project. And we look forward to a lot more, Marwan. And We're going to go ahead.
Now
we have a lot more.
We've got to traverse our journey through. Now we're from Morocco. We've come to Hungary, as you were saying, your early days with David Ball and friends and at the concert hall and everything else, you know. And we've got a piece, the Hungarian Rhapsody, which is another part of your performance which you will play out. But then,
I think most children have heard the Hungarian Rhapsody on animated cartoons. But everyone who plays the piano wants to play Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. The question I get asked is, when can I play Hungarian Rhapsody number 2? So I want to ask you a question, Marwan. At what age did you learn and master the Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 to a stage performer level?
Well, at quite a late age. I have to say I am, by nature, I'm not populist pianist,
Okay.
which means I don't play these popular hackneyed pieces.
Okay.
And this second Rhapsody is, let's say, one of those. But of course, there are some exceptions. Sometimes I just learn a piece for whatever reason, and I learned it in 2009. Or 2009, sorry. So I was quite old, let's say. I don't know for what reason I learned it, but I learned and I've been playing it since then.
Okay.
I did, this is a show we did a year ago with a fantastic gypsy band from Hungary, Louis Sarkozy and company and his friends. Actually, it's his father, his brother, and 2 other musicians. The core of the program are Hungarian Rhapsodies. I did some arrangements for the gypsy band and piano. Sometimes I play a part, they play a part. Sometimes we play together. Sometimes, and for example, in case of the second Rhapsody, I did an arrangement when the several themes that are presented throughout the piece are played together, and it never happens in the piece, and it never happened in other transcriptions for orchestra or for piano and violin. So I was quite excited to discover that these 3 themes go along very well.
Yes.
And I think I've never had such success in a, let's say, Western classical music concert. I mean, it was like almost giving a pop music concert. People were the standing ovation started right at the beginning. I mean, people were extremely entertained and excited. Well, it was not because of the piano. It was, I would say, because thanks to Louis Sarkozy and his band. But I mean, the program also was very entertaining. These Hungarian Rhapsodies, you know, it's good mood and very. I mean, it has a sort of momentum that is really compelling. So, I mean, it's a very, very successful, very exciting show, and I am quite sure we will bring it to India. I wanted to bring it this year, but it will be difficult. But I hope next year we can do it, and
yes.
It will be huge success, I'm sure.
Yes, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, Marwan. But in the meanwhile, for the audience, the benefit of the audience, let's play this wonderful concert that Marwan has experienced, and as he's expressed so beautifully, that he's really enjoyed the crowd participation. And talking about crowd participation, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, you're welcome to participate by putting in your comments, by liking. Remember, as Marwan just expressed, in a concert, artists look for the response. And right now you're hearing something. It's more of an edutainment program that you have. You know, we are presenting to you. There's pieces of his performances of the past that we're presenting to you. We'll talk about the challenges of the pandemic in a moment, Marwan, but we have also a lot of education that's coming through the content this evening, thanks to Marwan. and his unfolding of his experience. So let's start by playing that video of that performance, the Hungarian Rhapsody #2.
Quand vous allez entendre, vous devez applaudir, comme ça on va savoir que vous avez reconnu l'endroit. Allez, alors on va passer tout de suite.
Really great.
Yeah, well,
performance.
Sorry, yeah, the people. I mean, they were clapping. It was, and you know, somehow, even in the, it's only in the beginning, early 20th century that this total silence was required, and it was introduced by some, you know, some conductors. Furtwängler, Toscanini, but before that, concerts were entertaining programs. So people were chatting, were eating, were whatever. It was very, very, how should I say, very
homely.
Casual. Yeah, homely.
Homely.
Not like now. And yeah, and I mean, going back to this video, it was. This is a presentation video I did of some recordings I found on Facebook and Instagram. I used, I mean, of audience member. I didn't know who posted, who perhaps tagged me, and I found those recordings. So I just used them to make a compilation of this concert and send it to some presenters. But it was such fun. Making this video. I mean, I very much enjoyed this concert. And you know, every concert is different. We gave 3 concerts, and there is so much improvisation in these in these concerts. So it's not something that is written down to every note. So we just discussed perhaps, okay, now you play and now I play, and it's you know, it's very spontaneous. It happens in that moment, which is not very often it doesn't happen very often with let's say Western classical music, where everything is written and there is a frame and you know, some limitations.
Yes, I think so. I think, Marouan, you are a performer, but you're an improvisory performer. Improvisation. You do a lot of improvisation. You're a creative composer performer. No, you don't think so?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am not good at improvising, actually.
Okay.
You know, it's something they kill in you, unfortunately, in Western musical training. It should be something encouraged and further developed. But it is developed with organists, harpsichordists, but that's all. Piano has become something very, very narrow-minded, narrow. You know, in terms of, you know, you have to adhere to the score, to the music written. There is no freedom, and I think there must be freedom within the frames of the style, within the frames of what was allowed in that particular era. For example, in Bach, you know, there is a music written, but from practices of that time, we have books explaining how it was performed. You can, if you read it, you can allow yourself. I mean, you learn more about how the notes, how some patterns written correspond to other ways of playing the same notes. I mean, you can, for example, you have 3 notes, do, mi, so. You can link them, do, re, mi, fa, so. I mean, this is just an example, an obvious example. So, and this is only Bach, and with Liszt and Romantic era, that you have other practices, other traditions, and I think it's very important to know these traditions. Yes. Because the more you know the rules, the more freedom you have. Yes. Because when you don't know the rules, you are self-limiting. Yourself, because oh no, this we cannot, and no, of course you can. Nothing is forbidden, but within a limit. So I think it is very important to know the rules, so then you have more freedom to perform and to absorb that music and present it in an authentic way. Yes, so we know the rules and then break the rules. No, you know the rule and you apply the rule. You don't break. You know, it's like the lawyers. The more the better they know the actual rules, the law, the more freedom they have, the more easily they can navigate through the
maneuver. Correct.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Marouan, now we go to Béla Bartók. I think I love Béla Bartók. I've played a lot of that. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you're playing. Could you tell us a little bit, just one line of what inspired you to learn this Béla Bartók that we're going to present right now? And what do you like so much about Béla Bartók?
You know, Bartók has a very particular language. It's, you know, every music is a reflection of the composer's state of mind. So Bartók obviously was a very special person. I mean, special in a way that's very particular, and it comes out through his music. But I will tell you something. I liked Bartók all my life, but it is only a few years ago, I think about 8 years ago, there was an exhibition in Paris at the Musée d'Orsay about Bartók and the painters of his time. And that was one of the key moments when I started appreciating Bartók in different way, because somehow you hear his music through paintings of other composers. You can sense better what was the movement, the artistic movement of that era, of that period of time. And well, with Bartók, I love very much the rhythmic, his sense of rhythm, some very interesting, very unique sonorities, effects from the, I mean, not only the piano, but any other instrument. And it is a music where there is no, nothing, you know, sorry, I'm nothing to spare. Like everything is written in a perfect way, almost in a mathematical way. So there is nothing to add, nothing to remove. Exactly. So it's if you have to compare it to some other composer, you would say Bach. Bach is also the same. I mean, there is nothing else to add. It's so perfectly written, so perfectly built. Bartók is the same. Everything is so well, so perfectly composed, written. Then I think it's every piece is a masterpiece.
Okay,
right.
Let's hear.
So let's hear the piece, Béla Bartók's Microcosmos selection from books 5 and 6, a small portion of that. Yay, that was wonderful. That was wonderful.
You know, I have an interesting story about this this recording. I played it at the Rubinstein competition in Tel Aviv. It was in 2011. It's one of the top competitions in the world, and I didn't. It was you know, when I applied, I already had an engagement at Carnegie Hall in New York on the 26th of May, 2011. And the final rounds were the same day. So I was kind of, shall I go to the competition? And I asked them, okay, if in case of any miracle, I make it to the finals, is it possible to play on the first day so I could be in New York the same day, the next day for my concert? And they said, well, no, Marwan, you have to choose. It's either the competition or the concerts. And, you know, I said, I'll do both. I went to the competition, and I mean, I went without any expectation. I just wanted to go to Tel Aviv, Israel, and visit and see what's there, because you know, you hear the news, I think it's better to see with your own eyes and experience it yourself. And well, turns out I made it to the second round as well, and then I didn't make it to the finals because. Well, that is a question I will never get an answer to. Is it because they knew that I'm not there, or because I didn't pass because of the votes? I don't know. This will stay a mystery. But anyway, I went to New York. I was walking to Carnegie Hall from my hotel, and I got a call from my friend in Tel Aviv, Odile, and she's telling me, Marwan, you got the prize. I said, what? Yes, you got the prize for the best interpretation of the Israeli composer. I was, so happy. It was so unexpected. I was, already looking to my Carnegie concert, and I had this wonderful news just before reaching the artist entrance behind the hall. At that time, I couldn't share this news because, between Arab countries and Israel, it's a taboo. You don't talk about it. It's even I was, I got many messages from Moroccan people saying that I'm traitor, that they lost all respect for me because I played there, and so I said, okay, no. I don't pay attention to that. But now today I can happily and openly speak about my prize, because now Morocco and Israel signed an agreement for renormalization, which means that they had already diplomatic ties many years ago. They cut it with the Second Intifada in 2000. So it was 21 years ago. And now they are reestablishing their diplomatic channels. And there is a momentum now. There are many things happening between two countries. Of course, part of the population is still, angry. But I think the Palestinian fate will not change because of this channel and this connection with Israel. And Moroccan has a very strong historic connection with Israel, because among its there are about 9 million people living in Israel, and 1 million of them are of Moroccan origins. Wow. Morocco had the largest Jewish community in the Arab world, and it still has a few thousands, but most of these Moroccan Jews are very attached to Morocco. I will give you an example. A few years ago, I went to Jerusalem, and at the airport in Tel Aviv, there was a taxi. And he saw my name. Oh, Marwan, where are you from? Morocco. And he started speaking Moroccan Arabic. I said, oh, wow, you are Moroccan? He said, yes. I said, when did you go to Morocco last time? He said, I've never been to Morocco. I said, so how come you speak Moroccan Arabic so well? It's called the Darija. He said, well, we spoke at home. So there are these people who've never been to Morocco, and yet they keep their traditions, the Moroccan traditions. And so I think I was very happy about this this agreement. And well, if there is something we can credit to President Trump, it's this Abraham Accords, nothing else. Though I have to say, since he was banned from Twitter, I found Twitter quite boring. In a sense, he was a politician who, he didn't care about what he says. There was no politically correct. He said what he had on his mind. And I'm not praising his politics and his person, because for obvious reasons. But there is something that this well-polished politics, it makes it very kind of somehow sterile, artificial. But anyway.
Yeah, you know what, Marouan, that is so well put. And what you've just shared about your experience between Morocco and Israel, it's so good when there is peace, isn't it? And when there is harmony. And the other observation that you made about how 1 million of the Jews in Israel came from Morocco. Actually, Israel is a beautiful example, or a beautiful country, I believe, where because of the exile and coming back from exile, you will find representatives from every nation from across earth, in Israel. So you'll have music, you'll have music, you'll have culture, you'll have language, you'll have food, you'll have everything from all over the globe in that one country. And it's a beautiful thing. I don't know whether that was your experience, but from what I hear and what I gather from friends, that is so true about that nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in the same time, you have you truly have this Palestinian issue, which is an issue you cannot deny. You cannot be blind. And the politicians are playing with fire because they don't want to solve the problem. Politicians think only about power and grabbing power and keeping power. And for that sake, they are ready to do anything, sacrifice the lives of many millions of people. And it's really a shame. I mean, one thing is Israel, of course, is there, but there are the Palestinians also. So there are two solutions. It's either one state, and there will be second-class citizens, or there is a two-state solution. But for two-state solution, you need to secure land for that second state, because what they are doing now, settlers are going everywhere. So at that time, at some point, they will say, well, there is no more land for Palestinians. So how do you want to create your own state? But anyway, I don't want to talk politics.
No,
it's not our
let's
topic.
get back to music.
And,
right. Let's get back to music, and let's get back to Franz from Hungary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Camille Saint-Saëns.
Saint-Saëns.
We just heard that right now, the etude in waltz. It's a waltz that you're playing, I think. It's a waltz. Right?
Oh, yes, it's the etude en forme de valse. It's an etude in the form of valse.
In the form of a waltz.
And this year, 2021, it's going to be 100 years of his death anniversary.
Yes, and well, unfortunately, half of it is sacrificed by COVID, as was Beethoven's year. But for Beethoven, I'm not very sorry. He's already very famous. He doesn't need more publicity. Saint-Saëns is one of those lesser-known composers that needs more spotlight.
Yes.
And well, hopefully in the second half of the year, we can focus and bring his music to a wider audience.
That's right. That's right. In the meanwhile, let's hear this piece of music. Wow.
What a unique piece of music. I hadn't heard that before, Marwan. Thank you for showcasing this beautiful piece by this composer, French composer.
Yeah, well, it has it's being on my repertoire has an Indian connection.
Okay.
I learned it when I was at the Bartók Conservatory. I played it at an exam and later at the entrance exam of the Liszt Academy in 2002, and then I haven't played it again. And for my first Indian tour in 2007. Well, I made the mistake in that time to send my entire repertoire. It was part of presentation booklet about myself. So the organizers in Pune, they wrote me, "Hello, we are this and this, and we would like to request you to play the Saint-Saëns Études en forme de vase." I was, I mean, come on, why didn't you choose something else? Why that? I was like, why? I mean, why do they choose that? So anyway, I learned it again. I mean, when you learn something, it's easier to bring it back to life. So I played there, and then I kept it on repertoire for a few years. I played it again and again, and and I have to say, that was my first recital in Pune, and since then I have given 13 concerts in Pune.
Wow.
Since 2007. It was actually on this very day last year, February 7th, my last concert there. And well, I might be visiting in India in June of this year. So I don't know, maybe I'll stop by in Pune again. We'll see. But anyway, that's the place where I gave most of my concerts.
Remember, you fly into Delhi via the capital, Delhi, fly into India via Delhi, and we are in Gurgaon. So
I know it's very close to you. I've been to Gurgaon several times.
Right.
And I do fly in sometimes to Delhi. Well, it depends. Every year is different where the tour starts. And the concert schedule, but
yes,
yeah.
Talking about India, I'd like to talk about Indian spice and Indian music. But let's talk about Indian spice. I believe you have learned a lot from the kitchen while you spend time in India, and you use all those culinary skills in your kitchen.
Yeah. Oh my God, I am so fond of Indian food. I have to tell you, there is Moroccan and Indian food. These are my top of my heart, and then comes Italian and whatever, but Indian cuisine is so varied and so exquisite if it's well cooked. So by this through these years I came to know the best restaurants. Let's say I know the difference between the good and the bad chicken tikka masala, let's say, or biryani. And well, today I can say I'm able to cook myself. During this pandemic, I did several biryanis, different biryanis, lamb biryani, chicken biryani. Obviously, it's easier to cook because the red meat needs more time. But I do also desserts. I know how to do kulfi, different kulfis. I do shrikhand also. It's very easy, but yet it's a delicious dessert. What else? Oh, I have so many things. I can't. And actually, I do some. I just yesterday I had pasta penne, but instead of putting Italian sauce, tomato with basil, I did an Indian version of that. I added some Indian curry with I have all kinds of spices, and tasted so good.
How was it? Yeah, good.
Yeah, wow. To die for. Truly. So I'm looking forward to my next visit to India because I'm running out of soap from India and toothpaste and all kinds of I have this you know, this Sonf, this mouth freshener you use after meals.
Yes.
I have to get some more of that because I'm running out of it.
Welcome.
So I go with one luggage. I come back with at least 2 suitcases.
So you know what we'll do? We'll keep all the spice ready and we'll keep the kitchen ready for you.
The kitchen is waiting for you.
So you will have 2 performances, one on the piano and one in the kitchen.
And one in the kitchen. Okay.
Talking about performance, I want to ask you a question. During the days when you were performing, how many hours would you spend practicing for a performance? You know, on an average, you know, how many hours?
Well, it's difficult to say. It all depends on what you practice. It depends on what repertoire you but how big repertoire you are presenting. Because sometimes it happens, I go on tour, I have to play 2 completely different programs. It happens also 3 programs because I had a chamber music concert and 2 solo programs. So that's a huge amount of repertoire to prepare. So in those days, it's very tiring. You know, if you want to go through the whole program, it takes many hours every day. I could say 8, 10, sometimes a little more, but it's I would say the healthy amount of time would be 3-4 hours a day. Because our brain cannot focus more than a few minutes, actually.
Yes.
So everything beyond that few minutes is a waste of time, let's say. But it's still a way of practicing. And well, I think 4 hours are healthy amount of time every day. Sometimes you have more. It also depends on the piece. You know, sometimes I'm so enthusiastic about the music I'm playing, I can hardly stop practicing. And sometimes I'm just eager to stop. I have to practice because I have a deadline. I have to prepare something. Yes. And, you know, the heart is not there sometimes. You have to do it in any case. And the problem, you have to send your program long in advance. So let's say something that I was planning to play. I mean, I would love to play today. It might be something I don't want to play in a year from now. So it's very difficult to plan in advance.
Correct.
And to be ready for that moment, because the more you practice something, the more routine and the more monotonous it becomes. So
that's right.
You have to keep it fresh. Yeah. And keep your interpretation spontaneous. So you have to find a balance in the preparation. So for the concerts, it will be good.
Excellent.
Well done. That's good. Excellent. Not raw and not overcooked.
Right. And as a change and as a contrast post-pandemic, I mean, since the pandemic, how you found yourself in terms of time on the piano? What difference has it made? In the BP period? BP, yeah,
like BP before pandemic?
Before pandemic and after pandemic, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, during pandemic, let's say, because before is not relevant, but during the pandemic, I have to say, in the beginning, I haven't touched the piano for 3 months. You know, that was a very, very particular moment when everything like collapsed. From a day to another, very quickly, within days, you know, borders closed, flights were canceled, so many things happened. I mean, you were overwhelmed by the news every day, and I had nothing to practice for, and it just felt good to do nothing. I mean, to just float and keep the flow of the moment. So. After 3 months, I had an online concert, and I started to practice for it a week before. And I have to say, after 3 months of total distance from the piano, I could feel the difference. A much stronger difference than I would have anticipated, but I'm not 20 years anymore, so so I had to practice more intensely. In the beginning, I had to be careful not to force the muscles, but everything went very well. And well, you know, since then it was ups and downs, but no big pauses, no big stops like in the beginning. Those 3 months were very good, very healthy. It is very healthy to make a pause once, twice a year, 2 weeks, let's say a month, without being at the piano. It's good because then you reconnect. I mean, the reconnection is brings some fresh air, and you know, and even while you are away from the piano, you keep thinking about the music. So even during the 3 months that I didn't practice, I had so much music in my mind. And I was just eager to sit down and practice. And even now, well, now I practice every day, of course, but I have so many things I want to work on. Sometimes I feel like 24 hours are not enough.
That's true. I know.
But it's still a period when you can I mean, I try to enjoy to the fullest in a way that, you know, this is a period. I have some upcoming concerts, but I still try to stay relaxed and take it easy, and because otherwise, and then once hopefully this crisis is over, you know, we'll get back to the normal, regular pace. And there is so much traveling, so much stress, anxiety. So I'm not missing that state of mind, I have to say, but you know, it's part of life, part of the job. And I think it's good now to enjoy what we still have from this calm period.
Yes. And you know, thank you for sharing this from your life journey, Marouan. We'll move on from France to Austria, the land of you know, great music, and Schubert.
Schubert.
Yes. Okay. And Schubert Sonata in F minor, D625. Let's play that, and then we'll move on from there. We're coming to a close of this evening, but there is so much of music, and there's so much in Marouan that we can learn from.
Maybe we can cut that. It's the sonata, right? Yeah.
Just 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was beautiful, Marwan.
Beautiful, Marwan. How you made the piano sing, so lyrical and beautiful.
I just sung. Well, I mean, I'm not used to listen to my own recordings. Maybe I hear it once, twice, but that's all. So I'm myself surprised to hear it again. I as a matter of fact, once I have a friend of mine who put a recording of Rachmaninoff Third Concerto, and we were listening to the beginning, and he put it, and I said, "Oh, nice tempo, it's very good." And he said, "Yes, it's I don't know whom he said." I said, "Ah, it's very good." And then he said, "No, it's your recording." I said, "Ah."
That's a good prank.
Yeah, so much fun, Marwan.
Oh, fun, Marwan.
So much fun. We don't want the show to end.
Yeah, but
we have to do
but
the
we
last.
must bring it.
To do bring it back again.
But I must say something, Marwan. I've really enjoyed this chat and this with you. And we must
me
have
too.
you here. Yeah.
And not just us, everyone watching
Everyone
thoroughly
watching
enjoyed
you.
it very, very much. And we have the last part
Yeah.
of the Rachmaninoff.
We'll now go back to Russia, where we began, and we'll have Rachmaninoff.
Talking about Rachmaninoff, but well, my story was about Rachmaninoff Third, and this is Rachmaninoff Second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but tell us.
Oh, no, I have no particular story. Actually, I with this Rachmaninoff Second, I had it was in 2009, and it was a very particular concert. A few months before, I had some skin problems on my hand. I started peeling, and I completely lost the stability on the keys. My fingers didn't stick to the key as before, and it was really, really difficult to play. I mean, you didn't have that sense of control and stability on the keyboard, because my fingers always slipped. It was very, very difficult. I think it was again because of a competition in 2009 in late February. I took part in a competition in the US. It's called Hilton Head competition. It's one of the top competitions, and I didn't prepare again. I just went, because they paid the travel. So let's go to the US again, and then I went to Washington, Cleveland, New York. But of course, I prepared for the first 2 rounds, but because everyone played 2 rounds, and then they cut for the semifinal, and then the finals. And when they announced the participants, the contestants who made it to the semifinal, they announced my name, and somehow I didn't want to hear it, and I was like, I couldn't believe it was my name. So I was staying back in the hall. I thought they didn't say my name. And the other people said, go. And I was like, oh my God. And in the second, in this third round, the semifinals, I played some Debussy piece and the Rachmaninoff Sonata No. 1. A piece, it is a very long piece. It's 38 minutes. And I've never played it before entirely. Because it's so long, I just started learning it. Every time you start practicing, you stop somewhere to practice that part. It's a very difficult piece, and that was the very first time I played it from the beginning to the end, and before anyone else. I mean, I just played it for myself. So the day before, I was so stressed. I mean, literally, I woke up in the bed at 4 or 5 a.m. and I was, shivering of cold, of anxiety, and I was like, "Shall I withdraw? Shall I say no? I'm not playing?" And somehow I said, "I mean, I have nothing to lose." So I went there. I sat at the piano, and I was like, "Okay, let's do something." And I take a deep breath. At the end of the first page, there was a little glitch. I mean, I said, oh my God, it's the end, it's over. But somehow I managed to go beyond that point. I arrived to the end, and I was like, I made it to the end of the piece. And after that, I said, I don't care anything what happens. I just took a bicycle and went to ride on the beach. It's in South Carolina, beautiful long beaches, and you know, at my surprise, I made it to the finals.
Wow.
And at the finals, I had to play the Rachmaninoff's second concerto. I put it in the repertoire because that was something I played a year before. I thought, okay, well, it'll be easy to remember, to practice, but I didn't prepare. So I didn't prepare. I didn't even bring the score with me because I was not expecting to make it to the finals. So thank God there was internet. I was able to find it online and print it out and practice. Well, I mean, it went well, I think. There was some, let's say, coordination problems with the orchestra, I think. But, well, I got a prize. I was very happy.
Wow.
But it's fine. I got third prize. But it's the thing, on the other hand, is because of this stress, I think this peeling of my hand started at this moment.
Oh.
This very strong stress brought up, I don't know what. Well, now it's much better, but at that moment for several months, several years, I was not feeling very comfortable playing the piano. Now it's either I got used to it or maybe my fingers are better, but you know, it was a very, again, a competition that I didn't prepare. I just went and expecting nothing, and you know, it's very interesting to see how life bring such things.
I think you're a dedicated performer who's always ready, competition or not. I think you're a very diligent practicer, player, and that's why you can perform anywhere, anytime. I think.
Well, I don't know. Oh, of course, I think practice is the most important part in the musician's life. It's the most critical part.
Yes.
So it's you know, it's like you go to a pastry shop. It's not selling the cake, which is the big deal. It's making the cake, making it perfect. So it's the same with practicing. You practice. That's the workshop moment. That's when you have to focus on everything. And then whatever happens later on stage or before, I mean, it's just a consequence. It's part of the big effort, but it's just a little part of it. The main part is the practice, the practice sessions.
Marouan, you're so good to share so many insights with us. And just like your mom, she's so large-hearted. She just gives up herself completely. We're so grateful to her. We really, really enjoy it. Totally enjoy my sessions with her. And very grateful to you for coming on the show. And
thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
We look forward to having you perform live at some events in Gurgaon and Delhi and around India, which we're going to organize once the pandemic is over. And we look forward to having you here and performing. And we now move to the last piece, and that's
and just want to say this: let's continue collaborating online before the billions, the potential billions.
Yes, 7 billions.
Yes. So here's Rachmaninoff Concerto number 2, part 2. In closing, as we end up, and we want to say thank you and namaste. And we'll do the formal closing after this. Yeah, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's hear this
totally
piece.
Enjoy.
That was awesome.
I think I need to thank you. Thank your family for making sure that you became a musician and you pursued music. Thank God for giving us ears to hear such beautiful music. And I think that music is a microcosm of the macrocosm. If all of us look at our own scores, what we've been blessed with, and we all perform together, like all the members of this orchestra and the lead player, you, I think the world will be a much better place and we can live in total peace and harmony. And I think that's the message, that music is what it is for the world. What do you say, Marwan? Yes?
Well, I agree with you, absolutely. I think music brings peace to the world. I wish more people were attentive to music, were open to music. And I think if music was part of education, basic education in schools, we would have much civilized citizens and people in this world.
Absolutely,
and,
I totally agree.
I think, well, I think many things, but I won't say anything more.
We'll keep that those thoughts for the next time. Thank you once again, Marwan.
Once again.
May God bless you abundantly, and see you soon. Namaste.
See you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
Bye.
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 In closing, we'll play that last piece.
Oh, there is a last piece.
Well, there is that Rachmaninoff number. No, that's okay. The Hungarian Rhapsody. Just in closing.
Okay.
A few seconds. Encore.
Quand vous allez entendre, vous devez applaudir, comme ça on va savoir